WrestleMania 42 Night 2 starts off with Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. This was a solid match. Really enjoy what they did here. Starts off early on with Brock Lesnar getting frustrated, very angry that he can't overpower Obafemi. Brock Lesnar does eventually end up getting the upper hand. He ends up taking Obafemi to a suplex city, hitting him with a bunch of suplexes. He eventually does end up hitting an F5. Obafemi immediately, well, not immediately, but he does get up fairly quickly. He wasn't laid down flat like most people are. He ended up getting up somewhat quickly, ends up hitting a choke slam into a power bomb, picking up the victory. This match was about like a 5-ish minute match, which I'm not upset with because that's kind of what I was expecting. I was just kind of expecting like a 5-10 minute match where it's just going to be complete chaos, but I like what they did here. I like that they have Obafemi destroy Brock in 5 minutes. This is what I wanted. If you want to build a new star, this is how you do it. This was executed perfectly. I'm glad that Obafemi did not lose because that would have been terrible if he would have lost. Glad that Brock Lesnar did the job, put Oba over. After the match, though, we ended up getting a standing ovation from Brock Lesnar. He ended up taking off all his in-ring gear, leaving it in the ring, give Paul Heyman a big hug. So it looks like this may be his retirement match. Now, I don't think so. I think eventually that favor that Paul Heyman owes is going to be Brock Lesnar coming out of retirement, face Gunther, then that would be the official retirement match personally. So I don't think we're going to see Brock until SummerSlam. I think that's the play here. Brock is eventually going to return due to Gunther, due to Paul Heyman, and then that will be the retirement match personally. But this was perfect. I'm not the biggest Brock Lesnar fan, but Brock Lesnar, I'm glad that he did the job for him. I appreciate what Brock Lesnar has done for Oba. And hey, you can't look, as much as I'm not the biggest fan of him, I do understand the appeal of Brock, and he has done a lot for the business. I will always respect what he has done for the business and respect him as a person. It's just that he's just not my cup of tea. But nonetheless, very glad that Brock Lesnar did this for Oba, and very interested to see if this is a retirement match or not. But if it is, congratulations to Brock, and he had a wonderful career. But as for Oba, this raises a lot of questions what you do next with him, because apparently he called out the OTC Roman Reigns. So if we're going to get that, Roman and Oba, oh man, that's just going to be, that match is going to cook. The feud, the build-up, I could just, man, if they built that correctly, bro, they could easily make Oba into the next guy if he beats Roman Reigns. So very interested to see what's next for Oba Femi. But this overall, it was a fine match, but it was to just be a quick match to put over Oba, which was executed perfectly. Moving on to the Intercontinental Championship ladder match between Javad Evans, Penta, Rey Mysterio, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Dragon Lee. This match was everything you want. This is everything you want in a ladder match. Very fast-paced, high-flying, very chaotic, just spot after spot after spot. This was great from start to finish. We ended up getting some really cool spots from these guys. You end up getting one spot from Javad Evans where he ended up doing like a springboard clothesline onto the ladder to attack JD McDonough, who was on a ladder. Then later in the match, I think JD and Penta ended up doing like a Spanish fly off the ladder. We ended up getting another spot where Penta ends up doing a Mexican destroyer onto another ladder, like a bridge ladder connect. This match was very chaotic. It was a lot of those spots. These guys did their thing. Javad Evans was very special in this match, especially towards the end, doing an insane cutter to Rusev, who was climbing on the ladder, only to stop him with the cutter, which I thought was dope. This match was amazing from start to finish. Penta does end up retaining towards the end, which I did expect, but I'm not mad at the decision. This was the one match where nobody would have been a bad choice. Anybody could have won, and it would have been a good choice overall. So I enjoyed this. Penta gets to retain, gets to continue to defend that title, go on a lengthy reign. Very interested to see what they do with Penta moving forward. But this was overall really great match from start to finish. Really enjoyed it. They should do these more often at WrestleMania, like for the mid-card titles in general. To be honest, a ladder match should be guaranteed at Mania, to be honest with you. A ladder match should be a guaranteed thing at Mania, whether it's for tag titles, mid-card titles, whatever. It should be a guaranteed thing, personally. Shit, they could do this with the women. Shit, you don't have nothing for Julia? Hey, women's US ladder match. Shit, easily solve that problem. Put multiple people on the card, give something for these women who don't have anything. You can easily do that. So I overall enjoyed this. This was a great match. Penta retains. Very excited to see what he does with the IC title. Moving on to the United States Championship match between Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn. This match was very short. I don't really have much to say here. Throughout the match, you see Sami being very aggressive, constantly attacking Trick Williams, even at moments where the referee is telling him to stop, but he keeps on putting the pressure on Trick. early in the match, he ends up attacking Lil Yachty, ends up throwing him into the barricade, seeing a more aggression, more ruthless version of Sami Zayn. Eventually, though, Trick Williams does end up getting the upper hand. He ends up hitting the trick shot, I think, to pick up the victory. Um, Trick Williams is your new United States champion, which I do think is the correct choice. I wouldn't have mind if Sammy won, if they was going to turn him heel. If they was going to turn him heel, I wouldn't have mind him winning. Very curious to see what they do with Sammy next. I'm not going to get my hopes up because WWE's booking with Sammy is very wishy-washy. It's way too inconsistent for me to really have hope. I'm hoping they turn him heel for a world title reign, but I highly doubt it, especially with him being on SmackDown with Cody and Randy. I don't see him sniffing a world title. So especially when you got, especially and then you got guys like Oba calling out Roman. Yeah. So we'll see eventually what's next for Sammy. I do think the best thing for him is to turn heel, but we'll see what happens on SmackDown. Trick Williams is your new United States champion. Perfectly fine with that. Curious to see when we're going to get the Trick and Mello feud. Curious to see if we're going to get that next, or they're going to stall out and hold off on that feud and let that build for a bit before we even get that. But nonetheless, this was a fine match, but the right winner won. This is one thing that Night 2 has done perfectly, similar to Night 1, where they got the right winner. Like, there was no wrong winner on tonight's show, in my opinion. So, overall, this was a fine match, but the right winner won. Very excited to see what Trick Williams does, and curious to a degree to see if Sammy turns heel on SmackDown. Moving on, we get the Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio in a street fight. I totally forgot this was a street fight. I'm going to be honest, I totally forgot. But to be honest, I honestly stopped caring about this feud a long time ago. I'm not going to go in depth on this. It was a good match, but my issue with it is that it was a competitive good match, which I have an issue because it's the Demon Finn Balor. He won the match, yes, but why was this competitive? Like, that's my only thing. Like, look, I get it. It's Dominic Mysterio. You kind of want to protect him, which I find weird because you have him cheat in every match, but you want to protect him. Look, I'm not even the biggest Finn Balor guy, but if you want this Finn Balor character to really like seem like a threat, he should not be struggling against Dominic Mysterio. I'm sorry, this match should not have been as long as it was, if I'm being honest. Now, this was at least 10 minutes for sure. It was at least 10 minutes. It was probably like 12-ish minutes, but this match should not have been as long as it was. It really shouldn't have. It shouldn't have been as competitive. If you was gonna make it this long, it shouldn't have been that competitive, in my personal opinion. That's just me, bro. That's my only thing that I didn't like. I just didn't like how competitive it was. Because yes, it was a good match, but it was just too competitive. Like, there was moments where Dominic Mysterio was putting Finn Balor through a table. It was like, come on, like, why? I get it. You don't want Dom to look weak, even though you already do that with your booking weekly, but sure. Look, if this was normal Finn Balor, I wouldn't mind as much. But you brought up the Demon. The Demon is supposed to be a more ruthless, a more deadly version of Finn. But to me, this don't seem like a more deadly version of Finn. Because if you're competing with Dominic Mysterio in a competitive match, like, there's no difference between normal Finn Balor and this one. That's just me personally. But nonetheless, the right winner won. We already know this Finn Balor babyface turn isn't going to lead to anything much because we already know the future is Dom. But nonetheless, good match. We'll see what's next for Finn Balor. Dominic, I don't know what's really next for him because I don't see any direction with the Judgment Day personally. So we'll see. He's probably just going to be more a part of the Liv Morgan storyline with the World Heavyweight Championship, more so doing his own thing personally. So we'll see eventually how this all unfolds. But I'm just glad that this feud is over. Moving on to the WWE Women's Championship match between Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. This was a really good match. I said that this match is going to be a sleeper. I've been saying it since the beginning of this build that this match is going to be a sleeper match, and it was going to be a good match. But everybody was like, this is going to be trash. This was going to be mid. I told you, this match was going to be good. One thing Rhea Ripley knows how to do is put on a good Wrestlemania match. Even though her builds could be a little shaky, she knows how to put on a good match in Mania. And shout out to Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill looked really good in this ring. Twitter is very toxic. Look, I get that you guys don't like Rhea Ripley, but Rhea Ripley was the right winner here. Nobody was really a wrong winner here. You could have had Jay retain as well, but it's not that big of a deal that Rhea Ripley won this match. Plus, that gives more depth to SmackDown. SmackDown needs more women on SmackDown. Like, I don't know why y'all not seeing the vision here. But look, this was a good match. Also, people are saying that Jade carried the match, which is just wrong. Plus, Jade had majority of the offense. So, like, what are we talking about? Rhea Ripley did a good job selling for Jade, and Jade did a good job at doing the moves. Both people worked together. This idea that one carried the other is just very weird. It's just very toxic. But nonetheless, We do end up getting interferences from BFAB, Meechin. They come out. Then eventually Io Sky ends up taking them both out, making, getting rid of the numbers game. Then we end up getting them over. Rhea Ripley thought she got the upper hand, tries to go for a Riptide. Jade reverses it, try to go for a Jaded. Rhea reverses it, and then ends up hitting the Riptide to become your new WWE Women's Champion. I enjoyed this. I can't wait to see, well, I'm not going to say I can't wait to see what a Rhea title reign is, because based off Triple H booking with the women, this reign is going to suck. I don't expect this reign to be good because SmackDown still lacks depth. Because if you're going to keep the women in the tag team division, the only women for Rhea to feud with is Jade, Jordan Grace, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax. That's four. Well, no, Nia Jax tag team. So really 3 women. That's really it. So her reign isn't going to be that great either. I'm just letting you guys know that now, but people are going to blame Rhea Ripley for a bad title reign, even though SmackDown has no depth. But nonetheless, this was a really good match. I knew this match was going to be a sleeper. I knew this match was going to over-deliver. But proud for both of these women putting on a really good match. People are giving Jade her props. Let's hope Jade could continue this momentum so some of that criticism can die down a bit, because I've been saying that she gets a little bit too much hate. So hoping that she could ride this momentum and continue to put on good matches. But overall, really enjoyed this match. Can't wait to see what's next for both of these women. Now for the main event, the World Heavyweight Championship match between Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. This match was great. This match probably was better than night one's main event, but that's debatable. We had some really cool spots. CM Punk ended up bleeding in this match, which I thought was dope. Now, there was a spot where Roman Reigns ended up using a steel steps on CM Punk, which I thought was weird because this was a normal match, but that wasn't a DQ. And then Michael Cole kept on saying that the referee has to let them have more leeway, which I thought was weird. It's like, when the fuck was that ever a thing where it's the main event, so we gotta allow them to do more things? Like, that's just weird. Like, if you wanted them to use weapons, just make it a no disqualification. I don't understand this booking with WWE where you want a normal match, but you still want them to do things that's not allowed in a normal match. I don't get it, but it is what it is. But we ended up getting some cool sequences. It was one spot where CM Punk and Roman was just going back and forth hitting finishers. You end up getting Roman hitting a spear, Punk kicks out. Then it was a moment Roman goes for it again, but CM Punk hits a GTS. Then Roman kicks out. Then Roman ends up going for another spear. It was just back and forth finishers. We end up getting one moment where Roman ends up putting Punk through a table, and then Punk gets his payback by doing an elbow drop off the top rope onto the announce table onto Roman, which I thought was dope. But towards the end, though, we end up getting towards the end. Both guys are credibly exhausted. Both guys can barely stand up, and CM Punk basically had no more fight left in him. He was over exhausted, overwhelmed, and Roman Reigns hit back-to-back spears, which CM Punk couldn't fight no more, was just over-exhausted, couldn't get up, and Roman Reigns picked up the victory. I did thought the ending was anticlimactic, but overall, match was great. Can't wait to see what a Roman World Heavyweight Championship run plays out, especially with guys like Seth Rollins in the picture, potentially Braun Breaker, Oba calling his shot. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out. Plus, there are rumors that I heard that Roman said that he will be full-time. So if Roman's full-time, hey, nobody could complain that he's going to be a part-timer if he's going to be there full-time. But I'm not going to get my hopes up there. But nonetheless, this was a great match overall. This was definitely better than night one. This is how you execute at WrestleMania. This definitely felt like WrestleMania in my opinion. Very excited to see what's next for CM Punk and Roman Reigns, especially as champion. I thought the overall show was great. I thought this overall show was great. Overall WrestleMania, for me personally, I give it an 8 out of 10. Maybe like a 7.5 out of 10. But I thought this show was great, especially night two. Night one was solid. I thought night two was really good. But you guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. But yeah, that's it.